Hello Pokemon trainers, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Battle Stadium Singles video here on iStarly TV. This is of course part of my Road to Master series where I try to climb the online ranked Battle Stadium Singles ladder. And today we have a brand new team to show off here. I kind of just threw this team together. I've tested it a little bit and it's been a lot of fun. And you'll notice first of all that we have Cinderace on the team. So there's the team code for you if you want to try it out for yourself, see how it works for you. I'd like to believe this team is decently balanced, but you know, we'll see how the games go. So I started with Cinderace. I really wanted to try Cinderace in this meta because Cinderace was pretty much, I would say, as once Libero, its hidden ability, was introduced, it was pretty much the best Pokemon in Sword and Shield competitive singles. I guess until the whole restricted meta where you could use Zacian and stuff like that, or Zacian, however you say it. But for a long time, Cinderace was the best Pokemon in that meta because of Libero. However, I'm going to call it Libero, whatever. Its ability, which basically is Protean, which is Greninja's ability, which changes its type based on the move it uses. Unfortunately, I think two big things have made it so that Cinderace is not as good in Scarlet and Violet. The first is that Dynamax no longer exists. One big reason why Cinderace was so good in Sword and Shield was because with Dynamax, it had access to a flying type move and a fighting type move and a fire type move. And the flying type moves, when you're Dynamaxed, boost your speed. And then the fighting type move boosts your attack. So it basically could Dynamax and then just boost its stats. That just made it really strong. And then the biggest nerf to it in Scarlet and Violet was that these abilities, Libero and Protean, which are basically the same ability, are now, they only function when you use, they only function once. So if you send in your Cinderace and go for High Jump Kick, it changes into a fighting type. But then if I use Sucker Punch the next turn, I don't change my type. I stay as a fighting type. Whereas previously, every time you use a move, your type would change. This resets if you switch out, so if I switch Cinderace out, switch it back in, I can use another move and it'll change my type, but obviously this is a pretty significant nerf because, you know, you can kind of like play around it with Cinderace. Like if you expect the opponent to go for like, I don't know, a ghost type move like Shadow Sneak, for example, you could go for Sucker Punch, which would change you to a dark type and make you resist the move, stuff like that. So a lot less play to it. I decided to try Choice Scarf Cinderace because Cinderace, I mean, you know, outside of this amazing ability and outside of the ability to Dynamax, its stats are not amazing. Like, it's decently fast, it has decent attack, but beyond that, they're not amazing, and there are definitely Pokemon in this meta that are better. But I think Libero still makes it a little bit unique, and with a Choice Scarf, it'll be faster than pretty much everything on the battlefield, except for Booster Energy Flutter Mane, which is going to be scary, but I figured Cinderace could still hit decently hard and have a decent spot in the meta, so I'm running an Adamant Nature Choice Scarf. From there, you know, I have Annihilape. This is a max speed and max attack Annihilape with kind of like a lead Annihilape. The goal is to go in against opposing leads that are trying to set up Stealth Rock. Obviously, we don't want Stealth Rock on our side of the field because of Cinderace, so we can taunt them. And then from there, we can set up our own Stealth Rock and then just kind of go for Drain Punch or Rage Fist, whichever is more applicable. And the cool thing is, against setup Pokemon like, for example, Ting-Lu and stuff like that, we can taunt them and then just basically threaten them with Drain Punch. And if they Terrastalize and hit us with like Earthquakes, it boosts the power of our Rage Fist, which lets us do a ton of damage. So Annihilape's still a really good Pokemon. Then I wanted to try Roaring Moon, which is a Pokemon I really like. I wanted another Pokemon that's just really strong, and I personally have always loved Roaring Moon. Sadly, it hasn't really quite been that amazing in the meta, but with Booster Energy, I have enough EVs that speed is my highest stat, so Booster Energy is going to boost my speed. And then we have Dragon Dance, obviously, to boost our stats further, and I'm running the Terra Flying Acrobatics Roaring Moon. And then my final two moves are Crunch and Iron Head. Earthquake's another good option, and I did try this as well with Roost, but I don't know, I just wanted to be a little more offensive, so we went with that. Then I have bulky Zapdos with max HP and max defense. The goal is just to take hits against, you know, good Pokemon, strong Pokemon, and we have Terra... I didn't actually change the Terra type. I meant to be Terra Water, so hopefully that doesn't come back to bite us. I actually made a mistake there. But in practice, I haven't really been terastallizing the Zapdos that much. A lot of my offensive Pokemon, I would much prefer to terastallize, so it is extremely rare that I would ever terastallize Zapdos anyway. But we have Roost, we have Discharge for the paralysis, we have Heat Wave for coverage, and then Eerie Impulse lowers their special attack, so I just kind of thought maybe like if a Flutter Mane switches in or something, we could go for Eerie Impulse, and then we're just really tanky against everything. So Zapdos is another Pokemon that was really, really good in Sword and Shield, and it's not quite as good right now in Scarlet and Violet, sadly, but I think it still has a lot going for it. Then we have Choice Specs Dragapult, and in the past I ran modest Choice Specs Dragapult, but given the meta, given that there's some really fast Pokemon running around, and the fact that Dragapult naturally outspeeds them, I just went for Timid this time around. So I'm going to be hitting a little bit less hard, but I'll be faster than most everything on the field. This Dragapult in practice hasn't been like amazing, but I think just having the threat of Dragapult just being a super fast Pokemon, I think it sometimes scares certain Pokemon away. And sometimes you surprise them and you can deal a lot of damage to something like Dondozo, who typically Dondozo would wall Dragapult, but since I have Choice Specs Thunderbolt, I can really do a lot of damage to it. Finally, we have Quaquaval, which is another weird one, but if you saw, probably, I don't even know when it was, but I did a video with a Quaquaval team like a while ago, and it had like Quaquaval and Meowscarada on it. And this set is really interesting. It's sub Encore with Aqua Step and Brick Break. The goal here is to, like, obviously we want to boost our stats, but with Moxie, we hope to get a knockout to get Moxie going, and Aqua Step naturally boosts our speed, so we can kind of, get like a mini Dragon Dance going. Substitute is there to kind of take on more bulky Pokemon, and then Encore is there to kind of lock Pokemon into like weaker moves, especially once we're behind a substitute. It ends up being really good. We have Terra Fairy just because it rounds out the typing decently, and Fairy's just an amazing defensive type. Water and Fighting are decent moves as well, but there are some Pokemon in the meta that completely wall that, so we have to be careful against stuff like that, like notably Dragonite. But yeah, that's the team right here. It's a lot of fun, like I said. We're going to try it out and see how we do. Game 1 here. My opponent also has a Quaquaval, and they have Tinkaton. They have a lot of cool Pokemon. They also have Mimikyu, which is sometimes scary. I think I like Annihilape here. Annihilape's pretty decent against a lot of their Pokemon. I guess it is scared of Gardevoir, for example. I guess what are the big threats? We know that they have Dragonite, so that's something we absolutely have to keep in mind. I think because they have Dragonite and Quaquaval, and even Tinkaton, and even Mimikyu, I mean, my Zapdos looks really good here. Since their team is, like, no offense, not super scary, I actually think I want to bring my Cinderace as well here, just to try it out. I mean, this team is focused on, I built around Cinderace basically, so I think I do want to bring it. And then from there, who's my third? I think my third can be Annihilape. I think it actually looks decent here, and I think I can lead with it, and then Cinderace can kind of, hopefully revenge kill some Pokemon, and then Zapdos is great at taking on physical attackers on their team. So I think one Pokemon that's going to give me some trouble is actually that Gardevoir. Do I want Dragapult instead? I'd love to bring Dragapult, but the problem with that is it's Choice Specs and Cinderace's Choice Scarf, so having two Choice Pokemon just doesn't feel great. Roaring Moon is good, but I just don't like its matchup against Dragonite, and it's also kind of scared of going up against Gardevoir, depending on what their set is. Like, if they're... I was going to say if they're Choice Scarf, but I guess since I have Booster Energy, I actually wouldn't really be afraid of that, so maybe I should have brought Roaring Moon. The problem, though, of course, is if they have Dragonite, Roaring Moon just does not like taking on Dragonite, and I would waste the Booster Energy, so I actually lead with Dragonite, which is really interesting. Leading with Dragonite is really rare. Now, I know I'm faster, so I'm actually just going to start by taunting them. If they're taunted, they actually can't really do much to my Annihilape, so if they're like the annoying, like, Fire Spin, Encore, Thunder Wave or whatever, Dragonite set, then I kind of shut them down. I mean, I guess they could do a Fire Spin, but I don't really care about that. So we're able to taunt the Heatran here, and I think I'm just going to use this as an opportunity to get at my Stealth Rock, because it is good against their Dragonite. They just right away go for the Terra, which is fine by me. Interesting to see if this is going to be an offensive Terra or defensive. I imagine defensive, which probably... Oh, it's Fairy. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, this is very, very scary if they have Terra Blast, because that's going to do a ton of damage. But if they don't have Terra Blast, I should be able to take a hit or two, and then my Rage Fist will get boosted, so I'm kind of okay with that. They do have Terra Blast, so that's going to hurt a lot. We do get their Terra right away, though. I'm not sure this one-hit KOs, but it probably does. Heatran's really strong. Okay, I survive. Awesome. So this allows me to go for a Rage Fist, just get off some good damage on them. I think my Rage Fist is like 100 base power now, which is really strong. I am adamant, or I'm sorry, not adamant, but I am max attack. Jolly for what it's worth. So they're thinking, which is interesting. We already know we're faster, so we know they're not Choice Scar. Yeah, we hit the Rage Fist. See how much it does. I do have Punching Glove as well, just because it boosts both of my moves. That's pretty good damage. I do like seeing that. So now we have Cinderace, and we have Zapdos. Now, importantly, the Heatran is still going to have the Flash Fire ability, so I definitely do not want to go into Cinderace and go for the Fire-type move. That's definitely something to keep in mind. In that case, Cinderace is actually not great here, so kind of a rough spot. I'm going to go into Zapdos. They're probably faster. I do want to go for the Eerie Impulse just to lower their special attack, but that also doesn't feel amazing, to be honest. This is actually a pretty rough position to be in. Another thing I wanted to point out, they actually switch. I wonder if they're going to Dragonite here. Another thing I wanted to point out, though, is that when I was considering putting Iron Head on my Cinderace, and obviously in this situation that would have been great, but unfortunately I decided not to, because I thought Sucker Punch would be a nice move to have just in case. We needed priority. So I think that's kind of a throw, though. I think I should actually end up putting Iron Head instead of Sucker Punch. Either way, they go Dragonite here. They can no longer trap it. Wow, they have Ice Beam. We did get the Eerie Impulse on them, which is funny, because typically Eerie Impulse would not be great against Dragonite, but given that they actually have a special move, it actually ends up helping, or it actually ends up being okay. Is this Lumberry? Wow, they have Lumberry. They have Lumberry with Ice Beam. That's so weird. I'm just going to go Impulse again, honestly, because we can completely shut down this Dragonite. We are max HP, max defense, so if they have any physical moves, they're not going to do that much damage. And yeah, I mean, now they can't switch in their Heatran either, so Eerie Impulse is actually proving to be really good right now in this battle so far. I kind of feel confident that between Zapdos and Cinderace, we are kind of in an okay spot against the rest of their team, and we do static them, which is perfect. So I'm tempted to just Roost here, but there's a chance they switch into Heatran. I wonder if they're Heatran's Choice Specs. I kind of doubt it, though, because I feel like if it was Choice Specs, it would have killed my Annihilape, because I actually have no bulk investment. But we go for the Roost here, which is going to go ahead and get us back to full health. If they go Ice Beam, it's going to do nothing. If they go Extreme Speed, we know it's also not going to do very much. I guess one thing I should be afraid of here is like a critical hit or something. Or if they Ice Beam, freezing me, of course. But we're just going to discharge now, and that's going to take him down, which is perfect, because our Zapdos is at almost full health, and it's pretty good against the rest of their team, especially if they have Quaquaval or Tinkaton. So they're probably going to go Heatran here. I guess another... Oh, they go Mimikyu. That's actually great. I'm actually really happy about this, because Mimikyu is typically a physical attacker. So if they attack me, again, there's just a higher chance that they're going to get paralyzed with the static and the discharge. They do have Life Orb, and honestly, that Play Rough does decent damage, but we get our Berry here, which is, you know, when I put Zapdos on this team, I was kind of wondering what item I should have, because there's a lot of good options, and I just settled on Citrus Berry just because I thought, like, it's nice to have that, like, mini recovery. And of course with Roost, it kind of just really stacks up. So I'm just going to Roost here. I'm a little hesitant to do this because I feel like they might take advantage and just go for a Swords Dance at some point, but luckily for me, they just go for Play Rough. And once again, that Play Rough is doing a good chunk of damage. Okay, I'm going to make a really weird play here and actually just go right into Cinderace, because I know, again, that at this point, Heatran, like, Cinderace basically cannot deal with Heatran, so I'm just gonna go into this. Wow, they have Pain Split, okay. Huh. I wonder if there's any chance they switch into Heatran here. If they do, honestly, that might be GG. Oh, this is probably really bad of me. Yeah, Cinderace is in a really rough spot in this battle. I probably shouldn't have done this. I hope they just stay in. If they stay in, that's just perfect. Okay, that's great. They stay in. And we knock him out. Perfect. Okay, well, here's the awkward thing, though. We actually cannot stay in, though. Because once again, if we go for the fire move, we hit their flash fire, and then it boosts the power of their fire-type moves. They get Stealth Rock there, which is cool. Just get some extra damage on them. We could go Pyro Ball and hope to miss, and then hope they knock us out. That's not something we should hope for, though. Like, that's not something we can expect, I guess. So I'm gonna have to go into Zapdos here because I'm locked into Pyro Ball. Hope they don't do too much damage to me. That's a big hope, honestly. Oh, they go Earth Power. That's actually perfect. Okay. The funny thing is my Cinderace just has, like, nothing for this Heatran. In that case, I think I can Terrasilize and just... Would Discharge knock them out? I'm gonna Terrasilize and Discharge. This also looks really weird on my part, but it's gonna do extra damage. There's a chance I knock them out here. I know for a fact they're not gonna go for Earth Power again, so we at least get one turn of them not going for Earth Power. And I should live any move they go for. So my hope is that I knock them out here, but even if I don't, I really hope that I can take them low enough that any of Cinderace's moves, even though they're resisted, would knock it out. Okay, perfect. God, that ended up being really scary. Yeah, so, I mean, Zapdos is great. Zapdos looked great there. And Cinderace, again, I think Cinderace is fine. It's not a bad Pokemon at all, but specifically in this battle where my opponent had Terra, Fairy, Heatran, it was really bad. Cinderace was really bad. They had Terra, Fairy, Heatran, and they had Mimikyu. Those are two Pokemon that are just really good against my specific Cinderace, but we pulled it out, and I think we played well. That Pyro Ball choice was a little iffy, though, but at the same time, there wasn't really too much I could do in that case. So, yeah, I did think switching into Cinderace there, it felt weird, but it also, like, I didn't want my Zapdos to keep taking too much damage, because if it took a lot of damage and then I knocked out their Mimikyu, then they could just go into Heatran, and if they were faster than me, they would just possibly knock me out. So I just didn't want... And then, obviously, if they knocked out Zapdos, Cinderace could not win against Heatran, so I would lose the battle, but... it ended up working out for me pretty nicely. So yeah, let's go to the next game. Oh, and that team got me to Master Ball rank. So this is a good season for me. I think I'm 4-0 now. I know I haven't really been playing that much because I've been really busy, but I'm undefeated and I went all the way to Master Ball rank. So this team is a Master Ball winning team. Garchomp Tyranitar, really cool. And they have Dragonite. Stealth Rock looks pretty good here. I like Annihilape as a lead, right? Well, they have Garchomp. I think I like Zapdos. I like bringing Zapdos here. Do I lead with Zapdos? I guess that's the question. They might get up their own Stealth Rock, but I don't know if I really care that much if they do. Quaquaval actually looks good here, but then they have Dragonite. So basically, if I bring these Pokemon, if I bring Quaquaval, I definitely want something, or rather need something that can help me against Dragonite. And honestly, in all honesty, I don't have that many things that can help me against Dragonite. I mean, Zapdos is a big one, but I'm planning on leading with it, right? Could lead Pult. Dragapult. Roaring Moon. How weird would it be to lead with Roaring Moon just to get off a ton of damage? It's probably weird, right? You know what? We're gonna go for it. We're gonna see what happens here. We're probably gonna lose. But I didn't bring Cinderace. Cinderace has been a little rough. I like Cinderace a lot, but honestly, like, I built this team, you know, I started with Cinderace, but honestly, when I build teams like this, sometimes what happens is I kind of start just throwing things that sound good or that look good or that look fun that I want to try. And it kind of ends up being like less about the first Pokemon I started. Like, in theory, I probably should have gone like really built around Cinderace. But anyway, they lead Dragonite here, which is pretty surprising. I definitely wasn't expecting this. Do I just acrobatics right away? Yeah, I'm going to. Actually, let's start with a crunch here, just to potentially lower their defense. Dragonite lead is definitely something I'm not expecting, but Roaring Moon, the whole reason I led with it was just to get up a ton of damage on whatever they lead with. Obviously, Dragonite's probably the hardest Pokemon to do that against because it has multi-scale and it's decently bulky. But that actually does decent damage though. Oh, they go Ice Beam. Well, no, they didn't necessarily predict this because I'm weak to Ice either way. But now I can go Acrobatics and possibly knock them out. They go Extreme Speed and I survive. And I don't knock them out. Okay. Okay, so they have Ice Beam. This is the second Ice Beam Dragonite I've seen today. Like, is that a thing now, or am I just getting destroyed? Gonna go into Quaquaval here. And I'm gonna go Aqua Step. I actually get the knockout, which I think is pretty huge, because that means I get Moxie. So I'm at +1 attack and +1 speed, so whatever they go into, I'm gonna be faster than, and I have some leftovers, which is really nice. So I'm actually really happy about this exchange. And I think Quaquaval's typing, like, Quaquaval looked decent against everything they had except for Dragonite, so this actually works out decently well. They go into Qianpao though, which is interesting because my typing is really good against Qianpao by default. I resist Ice, I resist Dark. So are they gonna go Sacred Sword? Or they might Terrasilize. Oh, I can't Terrasilize there. I mean, I guess I just Brick Break, right? Or do they Terra here? I could Calc it and see. I feel like they're gonna Terrasilize. They might have Focus Sash. This is actually really hard. Do I sub first? I'm gonna Aqua Step. Oh wow, they didn't Terrasilize. They're probably Focus Sash anyway. If they're Focus Sash, it kind of just doesn't matter. Okay, well, Brick Break would have killed them. Psychic Fang, are you serious? Oh my god. Well, this is rough. And Zapdos, and they have an Ice-type move. I guess there's a chance that they could miss, but they're not going to. So what else am I supposed to do? Yeah, I might live, but still, I don't think it matters. I mean, they have one more Pokemon left. Who runs Psychic Fangs on? I mean, I'm just like running into everything today that... Oh wow, I flinched. All right, GG. Not a good day for battles. Things have not been going my way. But honestly, I mean, the first battle went really well. It was a lot of fun. I'm just gonna call it there. Yeah, but we'll talk about the team at least, and talk about what went well, what didn't, because I did a couple other battles off camera and they did not go well at all. They were really rough. So it's just feeling like, yeah, it's just feeling like today's not the day. I did get Master Ball rank with this team though, at the very least. So we have a couple battles to show for it. And again, this second one, not a great battle. I don't think I played amazingly, but let's just talk about it. I just frankly don't think this team is amazing, which is fine. But we can talk about like possible changes and stuff. And I do encourage you to try it out for yourself if you are interested, because I do think it's really cool. Again, it's a fun team. A lot of these Pokemon are pretty fun to use. But like I said a little earlier, like when I build these teams, it sometimes gets away from me and I start just throwing in things that seem like they have good synergy, but mostly that I want to use because they sound fun. And sometimes that ends up like not working well with everything else. So I started with Cinderace and I kind of started like, oh, you know, Annihilape seems decent with Cinderace with Taunt and Stealth Rock. But from there, I think the team kind of got away from me, and Cinderace, I think, is definitely less good in Scarlet and Violet than it was in Sword and Shield, but I think it does require a more focused build around if you want to try to use it, because it still has potential to be a strong Pokemon. It has other moves that are worth exploring, like Swords Dance, Iron Head, stuff like that. Even, this might sound weird, but like Trail Blaze or Flame Charge to boost your speed, but I don't know if this is the best team for Cinderace, because I don't know that these Pokemon complement each other amazingly. Dragapult, I love it. You know, it's always been one of my favorite Pokemon to use in singles, but I'm just not sure this is the moment for it right now. And I think, honestly, this sounds weird, but I feel like if you want to use Dragapult, you should just go, and you want to use choice specs, you should just go Modest. Yes, you end up getting outsped by, you know, Flutter Mane and Chien-Pao, which is not a good thing, but at the very least, it means that against other things, you can hit a lot harder and really catch them off guard, which is one of the big selling points of Dragapult originally. So in the future, if I do try Choice Specs Dragapult, I might just go Modest again and just kind of go from there. So basically, I think that's what the issue with this team was. Like, individually, the Pokemon were really good, like especially the offensive ones, but they just didn't feel like they worked together particularly well. Zapdos was really good. It had a great showing there as being just a good tank, a good bulky Pokemon that could regenerate health and possibly get status on the opponent, but I don't know that it really fits with the other Pokemon on this team. So it's a good learning experience, right? So that's the video, that's the team. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet videos. The DLC is coming very soon. We're just a few days away from the Teal Mask DLC in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I'm super excited about that. So I'll definitely be doing videos about that when it drops, and trying out new teams in singles, even though the format is not going to change until October. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet videos, and I'll see you next time.